Somebody say
Slay.
flashing light, flashing light.
I'm not
everybody
surprised.
Survived. Thank God everybody survived. Because,
I was going to say, if
holy-
anyone had died, we could not use that.
yeah, that would have been such poor taste. Thank God everybody survived that. But it is certainly looking more and more like this might have been a DEI error.
I've seen that video before, but it was with a woman parking her car into a curb. Same thing. Exact same thing.
Literally. Man, I've watched a few breakdowns of that video, and they're like, that plane came down so hard that it crushed the landing gear, snapped the wing off, and the wing burst into flames. Then the other jet is still going, and that's what propels the thing to flip over.
Well, because the one side's dragging, slowing that side down. The other side's got the jet pushing it forward. So then it just rolls.
And it just sends it into that tumble. And the other thing is that because the runway might have been icy, it might have let the plane get away from the flaming wing. And that might be how everybody survived.
Yeah, it's amazing that everyone survived.
Can
But
you
all the
imagine? I could not imagine. Somebody said, do you think they all... I stole it from somebody, but somebody said, do you think they all clapped at the end? You know, when you're on a plane and everybody claps and it's a safe landing. Yeah, we're aviation experts now. No, I watched a few breakdowns of it, and it was like there was definitely gusty winds and stuff, but it was definitely not like that plane came in. I think the guy that I watched said, like, when he lands an F-15 or an F-18 on an aircraft carrier, he comes in at like 800 feet per second. This plane came in at like 1,100 feet per second. Like it was just dropping out of the air, like just horrifying.
Just a miracle, man.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, like absolutely a miracle.
Then I got the worst part that's the exact same size plane. Like I always have to fly on out of our small airports. It's like, great.
We saw all these stupid plane stories right before we're flying to North Carolina. I was like, I don't know, man. First thing I do is the elbow check. You know the elbow check. Like you lean over, you make sure you see white male elbows.
See, I don't have to worry. I didn't have to worry about that because the pilot comes on. He's like, "Good evening. I'm your captain, Ricky." I'm like,
"Yeah,
Ricky."
Have your name John Smith? I'm your pilot tonight.
Ladies and gentlemen. Yeah, the last thing you want to hear is like some broad get on the freaking
I'm your pilot,
Shaniqua Jones.
Oh, we're dead. Did we just come up with the exact same random name?
Well, it wasn't that. Chances are. Shaniqua. I heard you guys told a few stories from North Carolina while I was gone.
A couple.
Yeah, they were interesting. They sounded like one heck of an evening. That's for sure.
Two evenings.
Well, what we learned, all right, so Rob and I learned a few things about, first of all, we learned that there were like 40 or 50 guys that came there just for us.
Yeah.
Which
was pretty awesome. Like at least 40 guys, maybe even more, came to that conference just for us. So what we realized is that we don't need to do conferences for other people. Like, and the other thing is, conferences are boring. Like, just in general. I've been to a bunch of them now. It wasn't a specific one. Like, they're all kind of boring. Like, you go and your whole day is just, I mean, for me at least, unless you have like an amazing speaker, you're kind of just waiting for the break in between to go and like socialize with everybody.
Yeah, chit chat.
Because you want to meet people.
Especially when you know the other speakers. Like, I knew what all the talks were going to be.
Yeah, I mean,
except for John Edwards, that was the best one.
John Edwards was super interesting. He's an interesting guy. Him and Enoch. Too. The funniest thing is they canceled us. Oh yeah, they canceled us for misogyny and anti-Semitism. Enoch gets up and he's like, "Don't let these broads out of the kitchen." Basically, that was like the summation of his talk. Like, don't let these women out of the kitchen.
John Edwards is like, I went to San Francisco once and saw a naked man on the beach, and I'm thinking, well,
Yeah, he was a cop in the 80s before body cam.
In Alabama.
in Alabama. It was very colorful.
We used to beat them for fun as cops. And
Then they had Conor Gallagher replaced us, and he made a Holocaust joke.
okay, I don't know if he even like realized he said what he said.
I made a Holocaust joke, dude. It's like thousands of people died. I mean,
No, he went
maybe
whether it
millions
was
died.
thousands or millions that died in the Holocaust. I'm like, wait, what?
Yeah, I don't think they did a good job replacing us. So, but yeah, so we realized is enough people came there for us that we don't need to go and speak at other people's things. We were very grateful. Look, they still did the right thing by us. Like we were still
Sometimes it just
paid
comes
to go.
out.
They still like they treated us as if we were speakers, regardless. Like
yeah, Jason and his whole team did a great job putting the conference on.
yeah, and I would absolutely promote that conference for him again, even if we'll never be invited to speak again. But so the idea that I'm floating around is a meetup in New York, and that's because it'll be easy for me to plan, especially if it's our first like thing that we're doing. I want to get a hotel right near LaGuardia that has a conference room, because what wound up happening is like 40 guys stayed at the same hotel as us. There was no bar for us to go to. Like it was just too many of us. So we wound up they had a conference room at the hotel, and we were like, dude, can we just like go in the conference room? He's like, yeah, it's $100 for 4 hours. I was like, okay. We gave him $100, brought all our own beer, bourbon, tequila. Like we just brought all our own alcohol.
Jameson and chocolate milk.
Oh my gosh, that guy.
So nasty, man.
man.
It sounds so disgusting. Just
Dude,
absolutely disgusting.
We see this guy drinking chocolate milk, and I'm like, what is that? And he's like, oh yeah, I mix bourbon and chocolate. I'm like, that's not going to end well for you. He's like, no, I do it all the time. 2 hours later, vomiting in the toilet.
What would have happened without the bourbon? You don't just drink that much chocolate milk.
Oh my gosh, even the thought of it gives me like nausea. I don't like like Jameson specifically, because I got sick as a kid drinking it. Like as a teenager, I drank too much of it and got sick. So like the smell of it just gets me sick. But so we're gonna do like a meetup in New York, get a hotel with a conference room that we could do what we did that night in North Carolina, because that's where we had the most fun. Like we had 40 guys just hanging out, laughing, telling stories. It was one of the most fun nights. And if we do that in New York, what we'll do is we'll hit St. Patrick's Cathedral. We'll hit St. Vincent Ferrer. I'll show you guys around like some of the coolest spots to see in New York. We'll go to Mass at Holy Innocents. They have a Saturday 1 p.m. Latin Mass. Then we'll head back to the hotel. We'll do that thing at the conference room. And then Sunday morning, we go to Holy Innocents for Mass again. And then everybody head home. So we'll have a Latin Mass, because we wound up we wound up.
Can we rent a bus and go and have you show us around like every event from all the stories you've told?
Well, here's the thing. We have to think about how we're going to do it, because
like this is the parking lot. You totaled the rental car in.
Yes,
no, but we should think about how we do it, because we could cap it at a certain amount of people so that we can get a bus to take us around, right? Like if you cap it at 50 people, you get a bus, like one of those coach buses that holds 50 people, or if you got to get 2 of them or whatever, and you could just get transportation for the weekend. And this way here doesn't get too rowdy.
We break everyone into teams, give them cryptic clues, and videotape it, and do like a Catholic Amazing Race.
Yeah, but we'll have to talk about how we're going to do it. I think we might have to cap it at a certain amount of people. Oh no, we're going to look like the Hasidics. So that's coming. We're going to figure that one out. So that was kind of the
yeah. This is where.
Actually, I could take you guys to that site. It's right near LaGuardia.
That would be great.
For those of you who have been around for a long time. So, all right. So, should we get to the main story right
after we do our necessary ad roll?
Oh, yeah. We have to pump up the wine company that has so graciously sponsored us. Rob, do you have the ad read? I think I have it. I just want to make sure I don't miss what I'm supposed to. Okay.
You have it?
Yep, I got it. Okay. So if Oh yeah. Okay, so this video is sponsored by Recusant Cellars. All right, Recusant Cellars is unapologetically Catholic and pro-life company. They're a small family-run fruit farm and winery in Washington State. They craft a variety of quality wines, specializing in big, full-bodied red wines in the Bordeaux style. They also have a selection of fresh farm-grown fruit, which you can pre-order now, and they will ship it to you as soon as it is harvested. So go check them out. If you guys use code BASED25 at checkout, you'll receive 10% off your order. Look, these guys, they're our first sponsor, and they're willing to put their brand behind our show.
I literally asked them, like, should I not do this on any certain topic? They're like, no, we agree with you guys on everything. I'm like, you might want to be careful there.
I don't agree with us on everything, so I don't know how that's possible, but they are very cool, and they are sponsoring us, and we are very grateful to them.
And their wine is actually really good. I've drank a lot of it.
I drank all of the wine they sent me, and I'm ordering more.
I've ordered more as well.
Yes. Then this past weekend, I went up and I took Bobby, who was in North Carolina with us. He was also in Italy with me. I invited him up to my uncle's house. He got like the full Abadi family weekend experience. And he brought all his guns up, and I got to shoot a 357 this weekend. And
Hey, let's go.
it was a pretty fun weekend, but yeah. So we wound up getting a little too tipsy. We were supposed to go to mass in Scranton. We were going to go to the FSSP St. Michael's. Kind of woke up a little too late. We wound up going to the most boomer Novus Ordo I've like not ever been to. It was actually not that bad until the end when they sang "God Bless America." And I just looked at Bobby. I'm like, oh my goodness, why do
Welcome to the
boomers love
6
their
millionth
America?
Sunday of ordinary time. We will gather around and celebrate at the banquet.
Ironic you bring up the word the number 6 million, because that song was written by a Jew, believe it or not.
Yeah,
I did
yeah.
not know that. We found that out
This
today. Yeah.
ordinary time never ends, you know.
So wait, actually, this actually did happen. I was taking Bobby on the side by side through the woods.
I knew better than to let Anthony drive me around in one of those.
But dude, everything was snow covered and all the trails are overgrown. So I'm like, no, I know my way around. We wind up not getting lost, but like I couldn't find the trail. So I throw it in reverse to like back up, and we were a few in the bag at this point, like drinking and driving.
You had a few bottles.
It's a DUI whether you're on the road or not. You know that, right?
On private property?
It might be.
I don't think so.
Well,
I have no clue.
ask the Fed.
I don't know. Well, we hit a tree. Next. And then I let Bobby drive out. It was a fun weekend. Bobby got the full Abadi family experience this weekend. It was actually my wife's family there, though. And yeah, it was a fun time. But
honestly, it sounds pretty epic. I just hear lots of alcohol, a 357 Magnum, hitting a tree, and then God Bless America, the Novus Ordo.
And a lot of cornhole.
Anthony's driving around, half in the bag, go boom, boom.
I wish I could have drove and shot at the same time. That would have been very fun.
You would have been like an honorary Texan at that point.
Yeah, I was about to say, you come down here, I'll get you on a horse, and then you can have a bottle of wine and your 357 Magnum. Be driving around.
I'm coming to Texas. Let's do
So
it.
this comment is cool because this came over from Rumble. So the Rumble comments are working.
Rumble comments are working. You guys
You
can
know what
watch
this
on
means?
Rumble.
This means we might be able to bring back live Faith and Film. We do it live on Rumble. People can put comments in, and then we'll upload it to YouTube after to deal with the copyright issue.
That's true.
That is actually a pretty amazing idea. Oh, let's talk to Father Nix. I miss Father Nix. We got to get him back on here.
Yeah, same.
Yeah, it's been a long time. All right, let's get to our main story. I think we should go with the article I sent on Francis, because look, we're all wondering what's going on with Francis, but Politico wrote this article. It said Pope Francis, sensing he is close to death, moves to protect his legacy. I thought this article was actually pretty interesting. So the battle to succeed Pope Francis is likely to be highly politicized, particularly given the pontiff's recent clash with the Catholic U.S. Vice President J.D. Vance. Pope Francis is seriously worried about his health after being hospitalized with severe bronchitis and is rushing to tie up loose ends ahead of the battle to succeed him. The Pope was admitted to a special ward earlier this month at Gemelli Hospital in Rome with a respiratory infection and has since been forced to cancel a number of public appearances. It's the latest health crisis for the 88-year-old pontiff who had a part of his lung removed as a young man and has become increasingly fragile in recent years. The Holy See press office has trickled out continuous updates, and on Monday said the Pope's bronchitis had advanced to polymicrobial infection. Complex clinical picture. He's got like double pneumonia and stuff. Like he's really not doing well.
Yeah.
And he had spoken to the bishop in Gaza or a priest in Gaza, and they had said their goodbyes.
No, that was Mike Lewis not using Google Translate well.
Okay.
Because he used the Italian word ciao.
Greeting.
Which could just mean they have said hello.
Yeah.
Mike Lewis did say that in his next tweet. He's like, I think I screwed this up.
Okay. According to two people familiar with the matter, Francis has been suffering from intense pain and has privately expressed certainty he won't make it this time. So like he's telling his like confidential people, he's like, yeah, I don't know if I'm going to get through this one because it's getting more and more severe. He didn't deliver his they barred him from delivering his regular morning Angelus sermon, which he has rarely missed even when hospitalized, said one of the people. He is now acting entirely on doctor's orders. The Pope initially resisted going to the hospital, but was told in no uncertain terms that he was at risk of dying if he stayed in his room in the Vatican. As his health has deteriorated over the last month, Francis has also moved to complete key initiatives and appoint sympathetic figures to key posts following a progressive tinted papacy marked by bitter ideological divisions, which is funny because he's the one always saying, pointing out not to make religion an ideology. Since he became Pope in 2013, Francis has aimed to make the church more inclusive, opening up key roles to women and LGBTQ plus people. While that has provoked furious reaction from many conservatives, liberals complain that the reforms have been insufficient. Meanwhile, the Pope's efforts to put an end to rampant abuse by clerics have produced mixed results. Okay, so papal
Has there
succession.
been efforts, though, really?
I don't really think so.
That's what I was thinking, Rob. I was just like, what few efforts?
Yeah.
Okay, so February 6th, before he was hospitalized, he extended the term of the Italian Cardinal Giovanni Battista Re as Dean of College of Cardinals, a role that will oversee some preparations for a potential conclave, the secretive gathering that determines the selection of a new pope. The move, which controversially sidestepped a scheduled vote on the next dean by top cardinals. So I guess the cardinals are supposed to vote for who's taking that position, and Francis just sidestepped that and put him in, was intended to ensure that the process plays out according to Francis's wishes. Ray, a longtime Vatican operator, is too old to participate in the conclave himself. Nevertheless, he will be a pivotal figure in behind closed doors discussions that often take place before the conclave.
I don't think the dean of the College of Cardinals actually has a big role in that, though. I think that's all the
Camerlengo.
Yeah.
Right, the Camerlengo. And I think that's who has that position?
I don't know.
I forgot who has that position. Okay, so that Francis selected him as dean instead of a younger candidate suggests he wanted to keep a friendly face in the role that would defend his legacy. I think this position, the dean, is in charge of the funeral. That's what it is. But the Camerlengo is actually the one who organizes the conclave.
Yeah, I mean, if they're already
Maybe.
organizing things, which it sounds like they are doing, I mean, you guys have probably seen like all the Catholic commentators have been saying stuff like Rome. Apparently, whenever stuff like this happens, they usually kind of give like mixed results in the press. So it would not surprise me with the kind of the shakeups that you are seeing if they're like, okay, if you're not going to pass away, Holy Father, soon, it might be at least sooner than you think. Maybe not now, but later.
Well, like generally, at least prior to JP2, usually like when a pope has died, like they'll wait like 3 days before releasing anything to the press.
Oh, really?
Yeah, they'll be like, "Oh, he's not doing well," and then 3 days later, they'll be like, "Yeah, he died three days."
So what do they start summoning the cardinals to Rome before they announce it publicly?
I don't know. I don't know
Would be
because
logical, at least.
I haven't really seen, because in my lifetime we've seen JP2, which that was no surprise, right? Like he was like not even, he couldn't speak for how long before he died.
Yeah. Everybody
on his
basically
deathbed for a long
waited.
time.
Well, what's wild about JP2 is everybody was like anticipating his death for way longer. But yeah. So it's Cardinal Kevin Farrell is the Camerlengo. I'm surprised they're giving so many updates about him. That kind of makes me think he's gonna be okay. Like we've had these scares before, and everybody gets their popcorn out thinking, "Ooh, we're at the end." But I have a feeling he's gonna pull through this one. But I mean, it is kind of interesting that this is happening as soon as Trump gets elected. Like if Francis goes under the Trump presidency, I don't know, man. We're gonna do something on locals that I kind of didn't want to touch here, because John Henry Weston and Liz Yore were on with Steve Bannon talking about the just the interference in the 2013 Catholic springtime that we were discussing last week or 2 weeks ago, and just how much the State Department was trying to influence the Catholic Church at that time, and that there could have been pressure on Benedict, which, I mean, they're going to start looking into things, and there's so much of the deals that McCarrick had set up and shifted money toward the Vatican. Like once Francis got elected, like McCarrick went and did that China deal, and then you started seeing all this stuff with the open borders and stuff. It's like it was an interesting segment. Let's just say that. So we'll save that for locals. We'll play the clip and we'll go over that. But I don't know, man. I'm wondering what bilateral pneumonia is no joke, though, especially at Pope Francis's age. Yeah, especially with a guy with one lung.
Yeah,
one and 3/4.
Oh, they only remove like a part of the lung. So.
You literally can't have bilateral pneumonia if you only have one lung.
Oh, okay. Oh, what the hell do I know?
Then you just have pneumonia.
Yeah, exactly.
But no, like Don's saying this is a joke, but like, what if they do? Like, what?
That'd be epic,
well,
honestly.
I would. I hope they don't.
You hope
they have no right to.
Yeah. Well, no, they're not going to look into the Vatican, but they could look.
If they look into the American side of it, sure, yeah.
The American side of the church and the financial dealings that have gone on, and how much, like, if they release, like the Twitter files that Elon released, like if they release a USAID files and you start seeing communications going on between some of the heads of these NGOs and the bishops, the incentive structures that they had set up. And I mean, we're having Hitchborn on Thursday, and we're going to dig into all of this stuff because Hitchborn is convinced like that was the attempt at the New World Order. Those won't look into the church, not any women in the hierarchy Elon would want to impregnate. That's another story we should actually touch on.
Oh man.
Yeah,
it goes hand in hand with the IVF thing with Trump.
Yeah, we're going to discuss that too. I don't know. It's like, what do you even say about the Francis stuff other than we're coming up on that time with it. We're coming to the end of the Francis papacy, and we all can speculate on what's going to come next. I mean, what do you guys think comes next?
You've asked me that almost every show for the past 2 years.
I know, that's why. Like, what is there to even say? I think
we honestly should make a compilation though of Anthony asking like all the guests, because that's a good question. Anthony always asks, and he always gets good answers. So that'd be kind of a fun video, honestly.
I kind of disagree with everybody though. Everybody keeps saying Francis II. I don't think you're getting a Francis II.
Not everyone says that.
Most people do.
Yeah, I would say a majority probably do. I think what's one thing in a way, it's kind of sad because it's like just on Pope Francis himself, it's like putting yourself in the shoes of a guy who's almost 89 years old. You know, he has this severe kind of pneumonia. It's not comfortable. He's in a lot of pain, but it's just like, okay, you know, he's at the end of his life. That's why we should all pray for him, because it's like, you know, who knows what he's experiencing internally? Because as you said, Anthony, he might very well pull through, but I don't think he's going to last.
I just think it's interesting that he's facing this at a time when he's got the most ideological opposition worldwide. Like, I really do think the Trump effect is happening, and I think it's happening worldwide. I mean, did you see J.D. Vance speaking before the German in Munich?
Yeah, but Europe closed ranks right after that. I mean, I do think the people in Europe are starting to to recognize it. You know, there you see stories on Twitter of people who like see people now like talking under their breath when immigrants walk by them in Europe and stuff like that, which would have been unthinkable even a few years ago. So I think the people are maybe waking up, but like the political
Yeah.
class in Europe is
Yeah, but
Political
Rob,
class
if
The,
I'm
the
sorry,
political
Nick, go ahead.
class is like where the political class in Europe is essentially like where we were in the sense of like 2020. You know, like the Dems taking over in 2020. And what I mean by that is it's like they're seeing the uprising of a lot of their people, and the right wing is winning elections specifically on the issue of immigration, and they don't like that. And so that's why you see them canceling elections and saying and making all these really draconian laws. Did you guys see that like clip of, I don't know who was on like CNN, but that lady who was interviewing those three heads
I
of
saw
those
it.
German departments who were just like, yeah, if you say things offensive online, like that constitutes as a hate crime and you should be punished
Yeah.
for that. It's like that type of draconian stuff sounds a lot like where we were a few years ago, but how does that typically turn out?
Well, here's the thing. That's my point. If you have Vance going to Munich and the speech he gave them was mainly on speech. It was like
Yeah.
mainly on free speech. It's like, look, you guys can. He didn't address immigration when he was there. He was talking about free speech because all of this stuff with USAID, USAID that we've been talking about them, you know, doing all these things to overthrow countries and their election stuff. 90% of it was about censorship and censoring people's speech and the ability for people to actually speak their minds, right? So if America starts to put pressure on Europe, because JD Vance did this in Munich and then he also did it at the security conference both times, and he said, look, we are not going to deal kindly with people who are censoring speech. Like, you cannot be going and arresting somebody for silently praying in front of an abortion clinic. Like, and he really came down on them for the speech stuff. Propaganda is such an important tool in modern warfare. Like, since World War II was over and they came out with all of the rules-based, you know, whatever the New World Order, the rules-based order, it's like you can't just go in and invade a country with armies. The way you have to do it is this propaganda apparatus. So for years, America was using free speech as a way to get our way across in other countries. Like, we would crack down on leaders who would censor speech in their countries. And we would say, hey, you guys need to have free speech. But then once populist movements started arising and you got Trump in, that free speech apparatus became a censorship apparatus. So all the laws you see in the UK and in Germany are actually in place because of US State Department pressure. Like, we pressured them to put these laws into place so that they start cracking down on Twitter and saying, like, giving all these rules to X, where Elon Musk, we're gonna take, you're either gonna pay billions in fines or you have to censor these things for us. Trump and Vance are basically saying, if you force American companies to censor speech, we're going to actually start sanctioning you. Like, if we start applying pressure like that and they can't control the narrative in these other countries, you are going to see a worldwide effect of populist movements uprising. Like, Marie Le Pen was a populist movement that scared the crap out of them.
I mean, if you think about it, that's also us influencing them to get them to do what we want them to do.
Yes, but at the same time, what Vance was saying was, look, we've kind of had this similar goal together of spreading democracy in our way of life, but part of that is free speech. Now, what they're doing is, like, what Europe was doing was overturning elections that they didn't like the outcome of, like just nullifying elections in countries they didn't like that's the opposite of democracy. So he's saying, look, if we're going to work
together, US has also done that a lot, though, too.
Absolutely. So if this is actually a shift in the way we do diplomacy,
no, it's the exact way we've always done diplomacy. It's a shift in the diplomacy we want done.
It's a shift in the ideology.
Yes.
Right?
Basically, what you're seeing is there will be an American Civil War, but that's American Civil War is really going to be waged across the world, at least across the West. It's going to be the two groups of elites, you know, waging a war against each other in Europe, in South America. They're all going to be in Canada. It's all going to be playthings during this American Civil War.
So so basically the way I see what Trump is doing, we've had a foreign policy that has basically kept us in every single country throughout the world. Like America has been the world police for a very long time. What Trump is doing with the Greenland thing and with the Panama Canal, like I thought those were trolls. Like I thought he was just trolling people with that. It's not really what he's doing. He's trying to actually like hemispheric, like he's trying to give us an iron dome over America and just keep it. So
it's about trade. If you have Greenland and potentially Canada, you control, you know, the so-called Northwest Passage, and then if you have the Panama Canal, you basically control the all trade routes from Europe to China.
It's not just trade. It's also you prevent the Russian Navy and Chinese Navy being able to meet up in the Pacific. Like that it's like you're locking up this is how I heard it explained. It's like if you take Greenland and you make a deal with Canada, like that's where you have to worry about the Russian Navy coming through.
I mean, partly. But what it does is it removes the necessity of bases in Norway and Iceland and Great Britain that we've relied on to detect Russian submarines coming out of Murmansk, out of Russia through the Barents Sea.
Yeah. So, well, I heard this from Steve Bannon. I'm not like coming up with anything original here. He was saying this is kind of like a Monroe Doctrine 2.0, where he's saying, look, we can look even for Europe, we're ending the Ukraine war. We're telling NATO, like, look, we'll be there if like something happens, but you guys basically
we went from aviation to medical experts to geopolitics.
It's just interesting how it's happening because we're all watching this Trump presidency happen, but he's basically saying, like, telling NATO, you guys need to cough up as much as we are. I'm not going to pay for this. Like, America's not paying for this anymore. Russia's kind of your problem now. We're not fighting the war in Ukraine anymore. We want to take our resources and bring them to America. He's looking at America as kind of like this marketplace that if people want to get in, they have to pay a price to get into that marketplace. So that's what the tariffs are about. But mainly the whole idea of the Panama Canal and Greenland is a strategic thing for war purposes, like so that we're cutting ourselves off. We have an ocean dividing us between Russia and China. We're not a continental army anymore. Like we can't just send our armies over to Europe. We bailed them out of World War I, bailed them out of World War II. They really got to get their own crap together. We're not going to be there to fight their wars for them anymore. So fix this thing in Ukraine, make a lasting peace deal so that it's not something that's going to fall apart. I mean, if you listen to what Hegseth said about the Ukraine thing, he's basically like, look, Ukraine's never joining NATO. That's an unrealistic idea. You're going to have to figure out, like, and Russia is not giving up the lands that it took.
Yeah,
like, you're not going to get the pre-2014 borders back. So to me, it actually seems kind of more well thought out than I thought it was. Like you never know when Trump is actually just trolling or Trump, but it seems like Trump actually has a really good plan for what he's looking to do.
I mean, I don't think it's Trump. It's people in his administration, but I do think they're trying to come up with like this new realpolitik from almost like a new Congress of Vienna concert of Europe sort of thing, where it's a multipolar world, you know, where 150 years ago it was Metternich and Bismarck and such, trying to balance German power versus Austrian power versus French power versus, you know, British power, to where war was just going to be too costly no matter who started it versus who, right? I think the Trump administration is trying to do something similar with Russia, China, and now the US, where if we can get Russia to get out of Ukraine and promise that they won't join NATO, then maybe we can all draw down our militaries by 50%.
That's literally what he said, right? He's like, we could maybe cut our military budgets in half. Like we're all sitting here getting ready for war. Like, let's make a lasting peace deal. You guys have power in your region. You have here, like, it no longer has to be a unipolar world where America is the only superpower. It's just not going to work that way. I've never heard American State Department speak the way it is right now. Now, I don't know if this is just a quick thing we're going to get with Trump and they're going to try to undo it all. I don't know, but it seems like something very different, and it's refreshing to hear.
Yeah, I think it is Trump that's behind a good amount of this. And the reason I say this is just because I have some friends who I won't name their names, but they do work in the administration pretty high up. And some of them have worked with the Trump campaigns for like since 2016. And they've talked about, and particularly after the defeat in 2020, this guy, he thinks like 12 years in advance. Everything is this chessboard for him. Even just his comments the other day, whenever he was having that interview with Fox News about, is JD Vance going to be minted as your successor, and him kind of just being like, well, we'll see how he does, etc., etc. It's all just strategy. Trump is basically 12 years down the road, I think. And so I think all of these things that we see him doing, I think it's two things. One, I think all of these chessboard stuff, it is him what he has thought about for the last 4 years while he was in limbo. But then two, the reason I say don't underestimate Trump is because while he is people can look at him as kind of the daughter, he is the ultimate entertainer, right? And that can throw people off. Like, we can look at rally Trump and be entertained, be like, haha, that's funny. He comes out in a garbage truck vest and he's making memes on Twitter. This is funny, etc. He's smart. He's very, very smart. He knows how to be an entertainer when it's necessary, and he knows how to be a strategist when it's necessary. So this is what I'm saying. Like, you'd be surprised, I think, when you really look down at what's going on and saying, okay, he's assembled all these people, right? So we can say it's the administration, or we could say it's him, but yeah, he's the one who's assembled all these people.
Yeah.
He has this goal. He has this mentality of what's going to happen.
Yeah, it just seems interesting to me that even today I was watching people passing this 4-minute clip of him around where he's like reading off all the stuff Doge found, and it's like, we're spending 12 million in Mozambique for whatever it was. Like, it's just like, that's not what we were doing there. Like, every bit of that money was sent there for censorship purposes and to sow revolution, but it had this very liberal mindset. Like, everything we saw in the Biden administration and under that whole regime is what they were trying to spread worldwide. Now, if you could try to get this Trump doctrine to be the new thing that gets spread, and get all of the people, like, basically revamp the whole State Department and revamp the way we do, how we interact with all these other countries, and maybe put pressure on the EU to start pushing free speech again, maybe we could get back to some semblance of normality here for a little bit. And it won't just be this little blip in a 4-year term that we got Trump and then everything reverses back to the way it was. Because after Trump's first presidency, Biden came in, by executive order, canceled every single thing Trump did. That's why I'm not crazy about everything being through executive order. Like, I want to see these things go through Congress and actually get passed as laws. I don't think
you're going to see that ever again.
I know, it's like
it's like what happened at the end of the Roman Republic. Once you have people like Marius and Sulla starting to play around with the constitutional system and just doing things by decrees of power, it has no choice but to continue down that road until it devolves. Yeah,
you would either have to have just like an insane situation where all of them happen to be super moral, or B, there's you transition from republic to empire, which we've all talked about for 5 years now, especially since the Biden administration, seeing, as you just said, Anthony, the fact that he can just go and line item cancel out every single thing Trump did. It's like, okay, in 2028, right, when we have this next presidential election, if the Dems win, do they just go back and be like, okay, we give up Greenland, okay, we give up the Panama Canal, okay, we open the border again, and we basically just start from scratch.
Yeah.
That's the big scare.
Well, the thing is, if he can dismantle all these NGOs, and if he can put pressure to undo the censorship apparatus, because they use that in our country against us. Like, that was how they took 2020. They basically, all the things we were doing in these foreign countries, they did here. I mean, they took all of that, all of those media networks, they turned against Trump, they turned it against their own people. And then as soon as they had a shady election with riots in the street, they literally did a color revolution here, and then tried to arrest everybody around Trump after it was all said and done. They threw all those people in jail. So
throw him in jail. Tried to kill him.
Yeah. So if they can actually dismantle that whole system, then we might get another election after Trump. You know what I mean? Like, I don't like the way it looks now. It's like I don't see how the Democrats recover from it. Like, I don't even.
They are pretty screwed right now. They are pretty screwed because it's like if the best thing that you guys can do is pure just reaction to what Trump is doing, and it's on issues that it's on 80-20 issues. 80% of the population approves of it, 20% disapproves of it. You're going to continue to lose. So the only way that you can win is either A, you just get this dark horse candidate like Barack Obama, who's just young, charismatic, everyone happens to love him, and therefore the Trump administration would have to be like pretty screwy to lose to him, or B, shenanigans. Right. But that's the thing. Don't ever underestimate the communists. Like communists, they'll try by hook or by crook to get in.
I don't know. I think it could be easier for them to win next time around than you think. I know a lot of people that happily voted for him this time that are really buying the whole, price of eggs is still super high thing. Like they think the whole Canada 51st state thing is stupid. They think the whole renaming of the Gulf of Mexico is stupid.
But are those issues that in like 4 years people really care about? Because that's kind of
I think it could be. I mean,
if stuff in the beginning of the presidency though that he's
right. But if the price of eggs is still $8, that's gonna
yeah.
No, exactly. That's why I'm saying like that's why I said with option A. If they were to win, the Trump administration would have to screw up really, really badly. And then therefore you bring a dark horse candidate in because all the candidates on the other side at the moment, like the potential candidates, they're all horrible. They're all just legit horrible. But if they screw up pretty bad, then they
which is not unlikely. I mean, he screwed up 2020 massively.
Yeah.
We can say they stole 2020. But he also entirely lost 2020 for himself with how he handled COVID, how he allowed mail-in voting.
Yeah, dude, that's not what it was though. It really wasn't. He won 2020.
Right, but they would not have been able to steal it if he had been thinking with half a brain.
Yeah, I think
to allow mail-in voting. Come on, that was retarded.
Yeah, that's why I'm saying if they could dismantle that whole apparatus though, Rob. Like it really is like the things that you're talking about now, like the price of eggs is going to be huge.
The COVID apparatus was Trump's apparatus.
The
COVID apparatus was
no. I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about the censorship industry. I'm talking about the biggest thing they still have going right now is they still have all of the local DAs in all of these places, so they can choose to bring charges against whoever they want. Like the amount of lawfare that they're still going to try and play with, that is probably the most dangerous thing that he'll have to face. But I don't know. Look, only time's going to tell. We'll see how the next couple of years goes. But
yeah, because I mean, it's like we're barely in it. You never know. You just literally never know.
I want to jump to the Cardinal Parolin story, Rob. So maybe click your little button.
I don't think I know
because this kind of covers this too. Cardinal Parolin: Europe must rediscover itself to face major challenges. Cardinal Pietro Parolin, the Vatican Secretary of State, said that Europe must rediscover itself in order to be able to face the major challenges of culture, commerce, and migration. In a February 15th interview with the Daily Echo, the Vatican official recalled the warning of St. John Paul II, which Pope Francis has also taken up. Europe, rediscover yourself, be yourself. The cardinal stressed that the old continent is suffering from a crisis of ideas that prevents it from facing the future. Europe currently has good antibodies to hold up under crises and challenges, but the most serious problem is the lack of ideas for the future that allow it to respond with determination to international competitors. Parolin specified that this weakness is due to the relationship that Europe has with its own history, the result of a deep and partly justified fear of its past. However, he emphasized that along with dark episodes of its history, there are many bright moments. In this regard, he referred to the debates on the European Constitution in which an explicit reference to the continent's this is what drove me nuts about this article. In this regard, he referred to the debates on the European Constitution in which the explicit reference to its continent's Judeo-Christian roots was avoided, advocating for a generic mention of its cultural, humanist, and religious heritage. According to the Cardinal, this weakened the continent's awareness and the sense of European identity. Instead of building Europe on its deep foundations and roots, a changing consensus of values has been preferred, but the future can only be built on the past, he pointed out. This whole article drove me nuts listening
Albie.
to it. Huh?
I was just saying, thanks, Albie. I don't know if
Oh
I'm
yeah,
saying that
thank
right.
you very much. The idea that these men who have pushed for foreign cultures to come into Europe and then say, Europe, you've lost your roots and you've lost your identity. Even the idea of Judeo-Christian is so preposterous. That these men pushed for these open borders. They pushed for the migrants to come in. They robbed Europe of their Christian identity. And now they're saying that Europe needs to rediscover its identity. None of them will even recognize, even saying that they have to reckon with their dark past. It's like only one event exists in history for these people.
Yeah. You know exactly what event they're referring to whenever they say something like that.
Battle of the Alamo.
Nothing of the Christianization of pagan Europe, right? Like nothing of I mean, even the idea of the Dark Ages is preposterous. Like this is when the light of Christ is shining through the world and spreading the gospel and changing pagan civilization over to Christianity. These men see the whole world through this one event, through history. Oh, we have to wrestle with our dark past. What are you even talking about? There's going to be tyrants throughout history. It's going to happen. Like you don't talk about Genghis Khan that way. You don't talk about. It's just amazing that Hitler is the only thing these people can ever consider.
I mean, it's the same thing like with college students here in the United States, where it's like all they care about is talking about slavery, but yet they won't talk about legit real life slavery right now in North Africa. It's just stupid. We talked about this a little bit the other day on when Thursday was on the show, but about how there's this insane, stupid double standard invented by the Marxists, where if it's Caucasian nations of Europe or America or Canada or something like that, you see mass migration coming into those countries, whether it's from Muslim nations or from other nations. And those nations are supposed to give up their culture, their heritage, etc., if they even have it, according to them, because it's bad. And so they'll look at, as you said, Anthony, through the prism of these bad events that have taken place in history, whether that's, something that happened in the 40s or in America, slavery, et cetera, et cetera. They look through these prisms. But then when you take that same standard and flip it on its head and say, for instance, things like, should Japan be for the Japanese? Oh, obvious. Should Uganda be for the Ugandans? Oh, obvious. Well, should Britain be for the British? That's racist. But it's the same mentality both in the church and outside the church. It's the same mentality in the church too. Should Catholicism be Catholic? Well, I think we can learn a lot from our separated brothers, and maybe we should put Judeo in front of Christian. It's that same thing.
Yeah, to me, the immigration issue and then the dulling of the doctrine of the faith go hand in hand. It's allowing foreign cultures to come into Europe is the same thing as allowing the LGBT stuff to come into the church. It's just a watering down of our culture. It's a watering down of the doctrine. It makes it, I mean, really, this could flip right into the woman con celebrating at the mass.
Yeah. We can talk
because
about
it's the same thing. It's the watering down of the faith, making it so that they really have this idea of just all nations coexisting and getting along without any realization of what like they don't see history for what it is.
The church treats it they treat immigration the same way as they treat the Novus Ordo. Oh, just shut up. It's a valid mass. Shut up and deal with it.
Yeah, it's the fraternity of brotherhood of all men.
It's still Jesus. Don't worry about don't worry about anything else going on. It's just Jesus. It's still Jesus.
Well, even he's talking about the dark times in history. It's like they completely forget about the Crusades. Like, are you forgetting when Islam tried to destroy Christendom? I mean, you take that one period in history, you put everything into World War II, and you forget about everything that led up to it, and that how we almost lost the Christian West to Islam. And if it wasn't for the Crusades, we would all be worshiping Allah. Like it's just these men. I'm I don't know how it gets fixed when you have men like this who will create a problem and then complain about the problem without any like seeing of causation. Like they don't see that their actions cause the thing that they're complaining about.
The thing is like, I mean, like Taylor's mentioned it a zillion times in his book, but it's just like, how many of these guys, they do know better, but they go along with it. That's the thing. Cause it's like, when it comes to, I'm really interested to hear the Lepanto Institute's take on Thursday, because it's like so much of this could be very well tied into that USAID stuff when it comes to Catholic charities and money. You know, it's like, so how much of this is all just like, okay, I want you to say Judeo-Christian, I want you to push mass migration to these countries, and therefore we'll let you have your money. We'll filter money throughout your Catholic charity.
It all started with the Marshall Plan after World War II.
Exactly. So that's why I'm like,
yeah,
some of this stuff, it's not like when I came into the church, I was super naive in the beginning because I was just like, I mean, come on, guys, there's like Catholic books everywhere. Don't you just read the catechism and like come to the Catholic conclusion? But it's like, okay, it's not that they're idiots. They're very smart, but it's about money and power.
No, not the Taylor Marshall Plan.
All right, let's do the woman con celebrating story before we jump to the other side. Because I don't even know what happened here, but this is
oh, it's so bad. Did you watch the video?
Brazil, so do we have a video for it? I don't even know if we have a video for it, but
I can try to look up the video.
The video doesn't. The video shows her taking communion, but it doesn't show the part she would have maybe been celebrating at. So.
No, it's not maybe. I think it's pretty. All right. So becoming embroiled in a church scandal over the. All right. So this is from The Pillar.
The Pillar. The Pillar goes on to say that there's no video evidence that. But yeah, read it.
All right. So becoming embroiled in a church scandal over the inaugural mass in his new archdiocese is likely not what Archbishop, I'm not even going to attempt his name, had in mind last week. But that is exactly what happened on February 13th when images and video surfaced of a mass in the Archdiocese of Chapecó, Brazil, in which a woman dressed in an alb and stole participated in the opening procession, took her seat near the other priests, and later took communion from the altar. The incident has received extensive coverage in the Catholic press in Brazil and abroad, particularly on social media networks. Who is the woman in question? What exactly happened? And what does the Archdiocese have to say about it? First, who is Archbishop Jose?
You don't need to read that.
You say Archbishop Jose. We know that much.
61-year-old Archbishop. All right, yeah, I don't have to go through all that. And who is she? Okay, so according to her LinkedIn page and official documents from the state of Santa Catarina, Vivian Schwank de Oliveira is an.
Hold on. Teacher. Someone asked her what her grandpa was doing in the 40s.
That's a fair question, honestly.
Brazilian with the German name. Mm-hmm.
She appears to have been installed as a minister of the Anglican Episcopal Church of Brazil in September 2024 and is currently listed on the website of the province of the Upper Uruguay region of the AECB as a member of the pastoral team. The AECB is the 19th province of the Global Anglican Communion. It is the oldest Christian church in Brazil after the Catholic Church, having been founded in the 19th century through a treaty between the colonial power of Portugal, blah, 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 blah. Okay, so what was she doing there? According to the Archbishop, de Oliveira had been attending the Mass as an ecumenical gesture for which he thanked her. Another Protestant minister was also present, although he chose to sit in the pews among the lay Catholics. De Oliveira, on the other hand, participated in the procession and took a seat with a group of priests to the right of the altar.
Notice how the guy knew where his place was and the woman just couldn't help herself.
Yeah, and she took her seat with a group of priests to the right of the altar. There were around 80 priests celebrating the Mass.
Which is a problem right there.
It is unclear from the images and video of the Mass whether she was intending to celebrate at the Mass. During the consecration, while all other celebrating priests raised their hands along with the presiding bishop, she is not in the shot, so it's not clear if she attempted to participate in the consecration, which would be an essential part of the attempt to celebrate. She did, however, join the surrounding priests at communion, approach the altar, and self-communicate. So she was she self-communicate, like she was there as a priestess.
Yes.
Yeah.
She was there as a priestess.
And theologically, it's like it almost doesn't matter because it's like she is communicating in the sacrifice.
Yeah. It is clear that the Archbishop was aware of her presence among the other priests. He acknowledged her in his homily. However, it is not clear that he witnessed her partaking. It doesn't matter. It's like he purposely did. It's not clear if he knew if she was partaking, as Bishop himself was distributing communion at the time and had his back to the altar. Canon 908 says that Catholic priests are forbidden to concelebrate the Eucharist with priests or ministers or churches of ecclesial communities which do not have full communion with the Catholic Church. I mean, this is just not.
It doesn't even.
Catholic.
No, it's not. It's not Catholic, but it's like, why even bring up the Code of Canon Law? The USCCB, as an example, I don't mean to be flippant here, but the USCCB is so useless that they, for 4 years, could not come out with an official condemnation when it came to communion for pro-abortion candidates.
Yep.
They could not, for 4 years, just come out and just say, "Here's what canon law says. We agree." They couldn't even do that.
Took them only 3 weeks to
condemn the Trump advance. And so that's why it's like, when you look at Brazil, which is presumably more liberal because of all the liberation theology in South America, it's like, this stuff is not surprising, but it's also not new. It's like Benedict XVI gave communion to a Protestant. There's photos of that. So did John Paul II. So yeah, it's not Catholic.
Okay, we're gonna get into some Catholic drama right now.
but
Someone texting you something?
Okay, I just got something. Okay,
Say it and then make.
I'm
everyone pay to
marking
go
this
see it on
because
Locals.
okay, two things we got to discuss: the Pipe Cottage guy
yeah.
and that guy Cameron.
Did he just reply to you?
No. So I can't. This is a DM. I have to ask his permission before I say who sent this. So your post about Cameron. He seems like a nice guy, but I really hope this video of his is an honest parallel of my covering the same topic 3 years ago. But it is suspicious that it's the same basic idea with almost the same title. I didn't see my name in the transcript either. So this is another Catholic apologist. That this kid is a straight up thief.
You mean because we also got text from someone else showing an example on Twitter where he stole word for word.
This guy is a
tweet from someone
straight
else.
up. Yeah, no, listen, and not for nothing. This kid started his channel a year ago, and he's been forced
8 years. 2017.
Who is this?
But
kid?
I've been looking
Just
back.
for
He
people
started
like me who
posting
don't know.
videos a year ago. I went back to his earliest videos. They're from a year ago, so he might have had the channel before that.
I'm guessing, and that might be where because most of the subs have been recent. Yeah, it was probably a channel for something else that he deleted and repurposed.
Almost
Who is this kid?
all of
For
his
people like
subs are
me?
recent.
Cameron
Okay.
Riker.
Cameron Riker. Okay.
I'll look this kid up.
This guy, okay. I stopped doing Protestant trolling because of this guy, because he annoyed me so much that I'm like, I don't want to come off like this. Like I felt like I was inspiring people to do these kinds of. This guy posts on X every hour on the hour, steals from other people. So let me pull up, Rob. Why don't you pull up the thing that we were sent?
Where
should I send them?
Just send it some to Twitter or WhatsApp. It doesn't matter.
I'll send them the WhatsApp. Yeah, this kid is this kid.
I see him.
Something needs to be done about this kid, because he's just a straight up thief. Like he's stealing from Protestants too. Apparently, is that Calvin Bryant Protestant? Yeah, right.
I think so. He's put out 80 videos in the last month.
80 videos in the last month, right? And the average video
That's
gets like
rivaling Law.
800 views, 1,000 views, and every once in a while, one will get like 50,000, which seems to me like he's paying for those to go. Like he's paying for those to go. He's gotten
Not in like the paying for subs way, but in like the using the Google ad.
using Google
Yes.
ad to make those things take off,
Yes,
right?
yeah.
That's what it seems like. I mean, I'm not saying I know this. It's just what it seems like. And his subs, like he had like 7,000 subs a month ago, and now he's got 21,000 subs. Everything he does, he just steals other people's stuff. So this guy Calvin Bryant writes, "Character counts, not for Cameron. Cameron helping young men to become virtuous. Copy and paste my post on his page and uses it as his own. Integrity is a virtue, not for this Catholic content creator," in quotes. Then Cameron says, "Peace, brother. If you tell me to, I will take it down. Thank you for humbling me." Goodness, bro, you literally stole my content. You claim to be a content creator. Why would you even need to ask? I thought the obvious opposition of intent made the post substantially different, even though the words were identical. I'm sorry, the irony didn't come. There was no irony. Like, this guy he's stolen my tweets. He's literally stolen things I've said and tweeted it, and it annoyed me like beyond belief. He has taken other creators, not just a grifter, a thief.
Well,
like, look,
that is what a grifter is.
Presenting other people's content as your own, like actually going through old Catholic Answers videos and stealing them word for word and presenting them as his own.
Yeah, it's not right.
Okay. No, that's stealing. That's actually like, I mean, I would no, it's not. No, let me explain something about it. It's not Lofton 2.0 because Lofton is different. Lofton at least does his own stuff. He does it where he will use other people to build his channel, but he doesn't straight up steal from people.
From YouTube, not music.
There was one
YouTube.
example.
Yeah, there was one instance where he stole music, but that's not what I mean. It's not like he's stealing other people's work. He'll do like he made his channel the Other Catholic Review channel, so I have my issues with that. But in a way, this kid is worse. Like this is just pure unoriginality and just trying to make yourself a content creator and using photos of him and his wife to try and give dating advice. I don't think he's had an original idea himself. I'm always hesitant to like go with other Catholic creators other than Lofton because I don't want to start beef with other people. But this kid's he's under my skin, and I honestly want people to call him out. Like, this kid is a thief. And he's a fraud, and I don't like him. And he's a convert, like a new convert. He's a new convert, stealing other people's stuff and playing it off like it's his, trying to grow his
convert. Don't make a YouTube channel. Don't be it's just. It's so gay. It's so gay. You're a convert and you become an apologist.
I should have waited to do this one though, because the Pipe Cottage one, kind of links into the previous story. The Pipe Cottage guy, like, we want to get him on for the Civil War talk, right?
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
Wanted to.
And then Rob destroyed it. Unless
I think that bridge
his tweet was ridiculous.
Well, I still think that bridge can be mended, and we may even be able to have a conversation with him about liturgy. So here's the thing.
Not until he acknowledges that he says, "Oh, I don't want to get into a debate, but you're all really wrong about this subject."
All right, try not to speak so mockingly if you want to get him on, but
I don't want to get him on.
I don't really care. I don't know.
I will at least talk to him on my channel just about the Civil War. Because
here's the thing,
bro, he's gonna look at your channel and be like, "No way,
this guy's insane."
Here's the thing with the liturgy stuff. It's like I had Mike Pantile reach out to me after his conversation with you guys when I was away. And he goes, dude, I got to be honest. I jumped into this whole thing about saying the Novus Ordo and the Latin Mass. None of that matters. He goes, I've been at the Latin Mass for a few weeks now. And Brian Holdsworth's been trying to like teach me how to actually get acclimated to it. He's like, I kind of have a completely different perspective on it now. He's like, I kind of wish I didn't open my mouth about it. So I said today, I'm like, look, if you're a new convert, learn the faith. Like, just study the fathers, learn the faith. Don't go jumping head first and saying that the Novus Ordo is perfectly fine and this and that. Like, you don't even know what you're talking about.
It's less about learning like the catechisms, words for words. It's like, get used to being Catholic.
Yes, get used to
living
the culture. Like, be Catholic, right? Like, so there's still things that are going to come off as alien to you. It's not good to jump into that debate. When this debate, look, I don't even feel comfortable having that debate because I'm not like trained in it. I can tell you my experience. I can tell you what it's like to be a Catholic, a cradle Catholic, and see how my upbringing was completely, like, my catechesis growing up was completely eroded. And a lot of it has to do with that Novus Ordo Mass. And I lost my faith because of how cheesy that Novus Ordo Mass was and how everything I learned about Catholicism clicked when I went to the Latin Mass and I said, oh, this is the faith I'm learning about. But to just jump in and start talking about, oh, well, it's still Jesus there and it's still valid. And anybody who says, like, when we're talking about the liturgy and we're saying, even if somebody says the Latin Mass is objectively superior to the Novus Ordo, there are defects in the Novus Ordo, there is clearly theological issues in the Novus Ordo, it's a different ecclesiology, there's a whole host of reasons why you would criticize the Novus Ordo. It is not a criticism of the people who go to the Novus Ordo.
I know.
It is not your fault that the hierarchy instituted this missal. It is not your fault that you're in a situation where you'd have to drive 3 or 4 hours to attend a Latin Mass. It's just not your fault. Nobody is saying anything about the people who attend the liturgy. We're just talking about objectively the liturgy itself. So there's no reason to take offense to it. Like it's just not, like, it's almost narcissistic to take offense to somebody critiquing something they see about, because the Novus Ordo, while it doesn't explicitly allow for that woman to concelebrate it, it implicitly allows it. Like it implicitly eventually is going to have that. When you have female altar servers, what is next is clearly women in an alb trying to concelebrate. Like it is implicit in the liturgy. So we're not critiquing the people who go. It's not your fault. Like, it's just, this is the culture we were born into, right? We are all born post-conciliar Catholicism era. It's not our fault. But when you start to go to a Latin Mass or you start finding tradition, you start seeing some of the incongruity in the new missal and the old missal, and you're going to discuss it. It is not a condemnation of anybody who goes to it. I freaking went to one Sunday where they sang God Bless America.
To be fair, that was just penance for drinking too much the night before.
That's what I was gonna say.
I'm just saying, like, I really don't think that the guy from Pipe Cottage handled that well. I do think Rob is a little bombastic, but it's almost like the guy, like, to imply that the Holy Spirit led the church to create the Novus Ordo is insane. And Rob, your comment wasn't even that bad. It's like, so you're saying the Holy Spirit led Freemasons to create a new missal?
Right. Exactly. What led me to make that spicier comment was him making that claim that the Holy Ghost guided the church into making the Novus Ordo. Me saying, well, okay, can you show evidence? And him saying, it's not your place or my place to make such a claim and show evidence, and I'm like, but you literally made the claim.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And his inability to recognize that is what kind of set me off.
Well, look, so my point is, just chill out. If you're a recent convert and, like, you haven't, and you don't go, especially if you don't go to the Latin Mass, like, let's say you only go to a Novus Ordo, like, you don't even know what you're talking about.
No, you don't.
Like, you don't even know what the complaints of the people who found the traditional Mass and started attending and are looking back on their experience at the Novus Ordo.
Especially if you're a Protestant convert, until you go to the TLM and really experience, you have no idea just how Protestant the Novus Ordo is.
And the thing is, and not just one, like several, and you kind of and you
lost at the first two at least.
Yeah, of course. Like, until you are in it and it's yours, right? And the thing is, if you're coming from a Baptist background where all you had was preaching, then yeah, the Novus Ordo seems like this beautiful liturgical thing, but it's
they weren't going for Billy Baptist whenever they were making the new Mass. They were going for Anglicans, for Lutherans, and all that kind of stuff.
Yes.
It wasn't for Billy Baptist, but you guys are exactly right. I honestly, it feels good. I don't even have to say anything about the new Mass because you guys pretty much covered all the
to be honest, the conference Mass.
Tell me more of the story, because you kind of explained it.
No, we're doing that on the other side.
Okay.
We'll do that on the other side, because especially the conference stuff. Like, we'll talk about that on the other side. So look, I'm calling this kid Cameron out right now. You're a freaking thief. You're a freaking thief. Stop stealing other people's content. There's nothing organic about the growth of your channel, and I will come after you every single episode if you continue this behavior. I'm just telling. I will make my
stop it. It's gay.
Stop it.
Say, Anthony.
Like, literally, it's thieving. It's gay. I will, because I don't troll Protestants anymore. My whole account will be trolling. I will do to him what Jim Russell did to me.
Cameron, for your own sake, don't go there.
No, knock it off. You owe everybody an apology, and I'm telling you right now, the person that just sent me that DM, Like that's really nervy. That is his
If it's
content.
who I think it is,
Oh,
then yeah,
it's
holy
exactly,
crap.
It's exactly who all of you think it is.
By the
It's
way,
exactly who all
this
of you
is
think it is.
this is a picture of Anthony now watching Cameron's shows and tweets for the next month.
Oh, that's great, Rob.
Thank
Who
you,
made that?
Sam. Thank you, Sam.
That's great. That's really funny.
Let me just tell you something. I don't like thieves, man. And I don't know, man. Like I may have disagreements with people, like even the person who just texted me. Like him and I disagree on a lot of stuff. Angry Dad's episode. Look, the thing is, if you
should text him and ask him if he thinks I've got a better Jufro than him now.
Well, that tells us who it is then.
I don't. That's not who it was. I'm not saying that's who it was. It was Brian Holdsworth. I don't know what you're talking about. Anyway, no, it wasn't. It wasn't Brian Holdsworth.
Brian's
But
way too polite.
I am going to scour this kid's content to see if he stole from Brian Holdsworth too, because
No, not Cameron.
not Cameron
Bertuzzi.
Bertuzzi. No, Cameron. Pull his freaking thing up. Show who he is.
Yeah. Oh gosh.
I was gonna
We're
say I have
really going
literally no
after him
clue.
today.
No, pull his channel up. This kid. This is not Cameron Riker. Some of the thumbnail, all AI thumbnails. Like this kid. Somebody's got to stop this kid. This is not right. He's a new Catholic. This is the stuff that's got to be stopped. 21,000 subscribers.
Oh, he's got the worst beard I've ever seen too. Just terrible.
Oh man, I'm telling you right now, I think we're gonna have to do an entire Locals episode just breaking down the episodes that he steals.
I'm just curious on who messaged you guys. You guys have to tell me later.
Okay, I'll tell you the exact one he stole.
He stole stuff from you.
The church
right?
father Protestants fear most, the one that he got 52,000 views on, he stole from a popular Catholic apologist. Let's just say that.
Let's see what
Okay.
happens if I search that same title. Huh.
Oh, I see.
Same
I see, Rob.
title.
I see. I see through the message. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, if that individual's critiquing this Cameron guy, you know it's pretty bad.
He's not critiquing. Nobody's critiquing anybody. I'm
Oh,
critiquing it.
I didn't realize that was.
Whoa!
on-
Look at that! Oh my!
I thought that was on
goodness.
screen.
Wait a minute. Wait a minute here. Wait just a minute here. I need
In-
that. I have
To be fair,
Nope, scroll back down.
Cameron has a capital M in his title of most, and Horn
and he
only
did-
has a lowercase m. So
he
there you go.
did
That's the copyright.
interpose the two words, so technically different.
Yeah, exactly. That's the
All
copyright.
right,
getter
all right,
there.
everybody. If you follow me on Twitter, retweet what I'm.
Oh gosh.
No. Defend us from Anthony's slander. I don't think Anthony was slandering anyone. I think Anthony's just being Italian right now.
I really need someone to somehow prove that Annabelle Bugnini was a convert,
No, it was a
because that's all Jason can ever throw at us. Anytime Anthony comes up with the cradle supremacy tweet, Jason goes, "Oh yeah, and what happened, or who all ran Vatican II?" It's like, shut up, Jason.
That's funny. Ah, Jason. man.
No, Anthony was unaware that Lofton was outing all of the sock puppet accounts on Facebook.
On Facebook?
He did it in the Facebook comments.
I love it.
That's why
Wait,
you
what?
didn't know.
Oh, I'm
It's
not on Facebook. Wait, what? Wait, what happened?
Remember when I texted you that I'm like, someone's saying Lofton's going after you right now,
Yeah. I
and
didn't
you're
know
like,
what happened.
where? It was on Facebook, not on YouTube. That's
What
why
did he
you
say?
couldn't
What did
find.
he do?
I don't know. I didn't.
This is
I-
content for us. We need to respond.
We know we don't need to respond.
Dude, Rapid Theology was so like, and the thing is, I never even said anything bad about Lofton or Rapid Theology. I just pretended I was a rapper. Like, I never insulted him. I was just like,
He doesn't
like-
have a sense of humor, so like that's the problem.
but I purposely never insulted him or like did calumny or anything.
Oh, he
I made
posted
it very
something on
clear it was a-
YouTube too. Does anyone have that video? Send me that video.
I was very clearly a parody account, and I never I never like calumniated him or anything. I never said anything bad. Like I would, if anything, I would like repost his stuff as me
Yeah, but
and be like, "Yo, what up, my nuance?" Things like that. Like I just instead of the N word, I would put nuance. Like I was just like I was actually pretty kind to him. I just thought it was funny. Stupid Jim Russell blew that whole goof. Stupid Jim. Rob needs to duct tape Anthony's hand so he can't talk. All right, we're going to the other side. We're going to continue this little discussion on the other side.
I guess it's on his community page.
It was on his community page. Well, if anybody's part of his community page, send us the receipts. I want to talk about this. This is
the lamest
comedy
community
gold for
page.
us,
Anthony, you
guys.
just go to his channel. You don't need to be part of his community page.
Oh, all right. I thought I had to like subscribe or something. I don't know how this technology stuff works, guys.
Probably have to pay
Clearly.
for it.
Okay, are we going over to locals now?
Yeah, let's go to locals. All right.
Hold on, let me give everyone the link real quick. Sorry, guys. I'm just trying to get the link for everyone. Everyone in the live chat, the link is in there now. Okay. Are you ready to go in?
Yeah, let me
Bum, 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 bum.
okay. Oh, man.
Okay, we ready to switch over?
Yeah, switch over.
Yeah.
Hold on.
Oh, I thought you were switching over while I